Hi everyone, welcome and thank you so much for joining us for another of Upwork's educational webinars. Today we're going to be covering upskilling and growing your freelance business. So a little about me before we get started. My name is Regan Murray, and if you haven't attended one of my webinars before, I am currently the ambassador for the Chicago Midwest area. I'm currently one of the four U.S. ambassadors who's responsible for providing our educational and social webinars such as these. So I'm currently a freelance event planner and business consultant, and prior to freelancing full-time, I was a former business professor at a university here in Chicago called East West. I've currently been freelancing for about 2 years now, and a fun fact about me is that I am a certified PADI diver, so I love to get out and explore nature any chance I get whenever I'm not working on my freelance work. So without further ado, getting into today's educational content, our agenda is number one, we'll start with upskilling, what it is and why it's important. Then we'll meet an upskilling pro, so someone as a case study that we'll take a look at who's taken some of these actions into their own hands. Number three, we'll go over skill trends on Upwork. Number four, we'll talk about some soft skills for freelancers. And number five will be some additional resources that you guys can use to upskill yourself. So starting with why upskilling, what better time than now to take your career into your own hands? You can have the freedom to decide and then learn just about anything you want these days. So this webinar, we're going to cover some tips, tricks, and reasons for you to start upskilling today. So upskilling versus reskilling. So what is upskilling? It is the development of additional skills to help make yourself more valuable in the services that you provide. For example, a software developer learning an additional coding language. So how does that differ from reskilling? What is reskilling? It is the development of a significantly different skill to be able to take on projects where different skills are needed. For example, a former bank analyst retraining to work as a web designer. So why is upskilling important? So upskilling has become so important, and it's more important today now than ever. And why is this? The short answer is the digital transformation. The workplace has never been as fast-paced or as digital as it is today. So in order to be competitive in the digital age, individuals require a learning for life mindset and collaboration with both humans and machines. This is also going to show a willingness to embrace a new way of doing things. So to do this requires a global perspective, agile adaptation, cultural diversity and awareness, basic competency in technology and data analytics, and of course, people skills. So the digital age requires that professionals, regardless of the industry, have to have technical skills and the ability to acquire new competencies required by this remarkably fast-paced and fluid talent marketplace. So to set up your mindset for success, you just always need to be focused on that growth mindset. How can I improve? How can I learn something new? How can I make myself better today? And to do that, you need to show that willingness to embrace a new way of doing things and a more global perspective now than ever. Because with the innovations of the internet and now Upwork, we have the ability to work with people across the globe. So something that has never really been done before. So it's important that we're always keeping that in the back of our minds as well. And that agile adaptation kind of goes with the growth mindset, always being able to change and adapt to a new way of doing things, just like we see in today's post-COVID workplace. And to do all of these things, you kind of need a basic competency in technology and data analytics and some people and business skills. So we're going to talk about a little bit more of all of these today. So 6 steps to identify your areas for growth. Number 1, you want to plan your analysis. So you need to establish who you'll need to talk to, including experts in your respective company or industry, and ask yourself, where do you want to be in 1 year, in 5 years? You also need to ask yourself a few questions to be able to know where you're headed. So in order to figure out what skills you'll need to get there, as well as determining what you need to do right now in order to get yourself where you want to go. So besides considering also your future work trends and what skills do you currently have that are on the rise. So talking about these future goals, you can also enable yourself to find out not only what you're interested in, but then compare that to future work trends, what skills you currently have, what skills you want to have, and what skills are on the rise. That way you can kind of take stock of where you are and maybe put together some action steps to get you to where you want to go. So you can also measure your current skills to identify any areas for growth. Maybe there's something that you just want to develop further. Maybe, get even better at that coding language, take even more photography courses. And then the last and most important step is going to be putting your findings into action. So after you do all this reflection, this research, and speaking to industry experts, finding out what skills are on the rise, you need to make sure that you're putting this information into action. Otherwise, it won't do anyone any good. So we're going to talk about some of these skill trends that are on the rise as well a little bit later in today's webinar. So hopefully we'll take some of that work aside for you. So according to the 2019 Freelancing in America study that was released by Upwork in October of 2019, which is also the most comprehensive measure of the U.S. workforce, it surveyed more than 6,000 U.S. workers and estimates that currently 57 million Americans freelance, which I would estimate to be even higher today, again in today's post-COVID workforce. But that's great news for us because it means that this skill trend, this whole entire area of work is growing and is on the rise. So if you're already getting started in it, then you're in the right place. And further, it says that freelancers are more likely to participate in training compared to their non-freelance counterparts. So 65% of freelancers said that they've done some training in the last 6 months versus only 40% of those non-freelancers. And additionally, 4 in 5 freelancers recognize the value of skill training to their work and future opportunities. 73% of the freelancers agree that skill training has been essential to their work, compared to only 66% of their non-freelancing counterparts. So everyone kind of agrees that updating their skills to ensure that they're marketable as the job market evolves is very important and adds a lot as well to your sense of fulfillment and pride in the work that you're doing as you're always continuing to evolve, to take on new skills and to take on new projects rather than maybe doing the same thing over and over again. So more from this study says that 78% of freelancers agree that soft skills are equally as important as technical skills in order to succeed in their work. So soft skills we'll talk about more in a little bit as well, but these are things like written communication, professional self-presentation, and time management or client relationship building skills. Further, 81% of freelancers find that their freelance business skills are important to their work and would like additional training. The top 3 areas they would like additional training on are number 1, networking, number 2, new skills in their field, and number 3, how to start and grow a freelance career. So again, this is kind of what the aim of all of our educational webinars are, is to help provide you guys not only with this information, but the skills and the resources to be able to do so. So again, you're in the right place. So some of the top reasons for skill-related education or training are listed as number 1, to stay up to date with developments in my field, number 2, to keep up with changing technologies, and number 3, to earn more by learning higher paying skills. So all of these are valid and important reasons as to why you should always try to stay current and continue to evolve your skills. So now we're going to meet an upskilling pro. So Josh Burns is a top-rated freelancer on Upwork. He started freelancing on Upwork in May of 2016. He currently does database administration and data engineer skill work. He is also a freelance coach and mentor who's helped freelancers all around the world succeed on Upwork. He's a YouTube content creator focusing on freelancing, personal finance, and tech reviews. And you can see a little snapshot of his profile here. And some of his profile statistics worth pointing out is that he has a 100% job success score. He's also earned over $560,000 in his career with Upwork. He's completed 110 jobs and more than 7,400 hours of work. So Josh definitely knows a thing or two about freelancing and about upskilling. So Josh talks here first about the importance of starting a long-term client relationship, saying that long-term clients are immensely lucrative. So a little bit about this specific case and client for Josh was that this client hired Josh back in 2017 to help with normal database maintenance tasks. The initial timeline for the job was roughly 3 to 6 months. Josh completed the job on time and the client was very satisfied with his work and his professionalism. So the lead manager who created the Upwork job asked Josh if he could help with another project involving SQL Server failover, clustering, and always-on high availability. At the time, Josh didn't have any previous experience with these technologies, so he informed the client that although he didn't have any prior experience, it is something that he could pick up quickly. This is immensely important when it comes to upskilling, to be honest with your clients about what you do and you don't know. They will respect your honesty and also your will to learn a new skill. So it's always important to keep an open and honest communication so that expectations will remain clear. So after that, Josh went on to spend the weekend taking courses on Pluralsight and Udemy for SQL Server failover, clustering, and always-on high availability. By the end of the weekend, Josh felt really comfortable with his new skills and set up a meeting with his manager to move forward with a new project. So what were his results? The investing in this upskilling led Josh to earn over $62,000 with just one single client. That was turning a one-time client into a repeat long-term client just by the ability and willingness to learn a new skill that the client needed some help with. So this is a long-term client that he now works consistently with every single week. And although the initial project seemed small, this has been one of his most lucrative Upwork jobs. So there are unlimited resources online that can help you turn these short-term contracts into long-term relationships. So we're going to talk a little bit more about those resources later in this webinar, but just knowing that at the access of the internet, at the tip of your fingertips, is almost endless information, whether it be blogs or articles or professional courses. So just thinking about things that you can do to invest in yourself and what that could turn into for you and your clients. Upskilling also helps avoid burnout from doing the same things over and over again. So for Josh, when he needed to learn new things and do different tasks, it kept him from burning out at his work and continuing to just evolve and really enjoy the work that he is doing. So some upskilling long-term earnings here. As you can see, these are all open long-term projects currently on Josh's profile. Upskilling allows you to retain long-term clients without losing them to a more skilled freelancer. By upskilling and enhancing his own skill set, Josh, for instance, is able to offer more services to his existing clients. The upskilling also provides a source of motivation for Josh. He learns new skills by upskilling, and it prevents him from becoming complacent or from plateauing. So as shown in these screenshots, upskilling can also be very financially lucrative. You see here the $62,000 contract that we mentioned. He also has multiple up here for in the $20,000 range and another one in the $32,000 range. And that's because these are long-term clients that Josh is working with for more than just one short-term contract. And again, he's done that by continuing to evolve his skills to offer all of these additional skill sets to his clients. And as you can see, it really has been paying off for him. So Josh says he loves learning new skills, and it's been one of the key aspects of his success on Upwork. So I'd like to give you a few more examples of other freelancers within the skill backgrounds and how they've used upskilling to offer more to their clients. So just remember that you can also be as proactive as them. So the first one is a freelancer that has just discovered social media strategy to their client. They're taking a course on Facebook's own Blueprint Academy to upskill themselves about Facebook ads and paid content, which they can then offer to their client as an additional service. So this person goes beyond just delivering social media strategy into learning more about Facebook ads themselves and paid content, and knowing that that should be the next logical step for their client after they've kind of set up their initial strategy is going to be the execution of that strategy, and how this freelancer can now be that same freelancer to help them implement the strategy that they've just created. Another example is a copywriter who completed 5 blog articles for their client, and they see improvement potential in their client's email program, and they're taking a course on Udemy about creating great email copy. So again, similar to the last one, they saw opportunity for them to continue to help their client. That's what all these relationships are about, is how you can help your client further make their business successful. So this copywriter saw that, yes, I can help write great blogs, but I think, there's another piece to this puzzle is going to be email programming. So why don't I take a course on how to create great email copy and suggest that I can help this client do both as well, and maybe even create a sense of consistency in their writing. And lastly would be a full stack developer who has developed a new website for their client. The website starts getting a lot of traffic, which requires moving the website into the cloud using cloud technologies for better scaling capabilities. This developer then upskills themselves in cloud technologies in order to help offer this transition to the client. So I love this one. This one's great as well because it talks about someone who's starting on just the developing, just the coding of a website. But then again, they see the next logical step, the next opportunity for them to help their clients is to help manage all of this traffic that they're now getting on their website and to help migrate this to cloud. So they start learning some additional developer capabilities to transfer to cloud technologies. And this is a skill that they can then not only offer to their existing client and hopefully turn them into a long-term client, but this is now a new skill that you can add to your Upskill profile to help future clients that you're not working with as well. So tons of examples on how upskilling can transform into more long-term earnings for you and also successful relationships and work for you and your clients. So Josh's top upskilling tips are to research in-demand skills on Upwork by utilizing articles on top skills in demand. That way you can, have an idea of skills that a lot of clients may be looking for. And we're going to talk about that a little bit later in today's webinar as well. He also suggests that you explore course website content. Personally, Josh says he likes Pluralsight because it has the best SQL Server courses. So just depending on what type of skills you're looking for, finding those course websites and exploring those will be very beneficial to you. We'll also talk a little bit about those later today, but I personally really like LinkedIn Learning. They've recently launched quite a few different series of free learning courses that are free throughout March of 2021 to help do just this, to upskill in your current profession and to try to help sharpen your skills or gain new skills. Josh also recommends looking at job details when browsing Upwork jobs to find areas where you may need to upskill. He often builds personal development plans around Upwork job descriptions. So if you use your advanced search to find jobs that are related to your skill set, then you can get an idea of maybe a job that is your dream job and how you can set up a personal development plan of what you need to do, additional trainings you may need to take in order to be the best qualified candidate for either that job or a job like that in the future. And lastly, and I love this one, is create a reoccurring calendar entry with a notification reminder for upskilling. Josh spends 1 hour each day taking SQL Server courses on Pluralsight, and without scheduling this time, he says he would often make excuses and skip his daily upskilling. So this is so important to set up a ritual, to set up a reoccurring calendar invite, or write it on your planner to make sure you set this time aside to learn and to invest in yourself, because if you don't set this time aside, it is very easy for it to just get pushed off for another day that perhaps never comes. So just making sure that, again, you see this as an investment in yourself, an investment in your business, and how you can continue to grow your own skills and your freelance business. So now, as I mentioned a few moments ago, we're going to talk about some of the skill trends on Upwork. So this should help. You guys don't have to do quite as much research on this to see what exactly skills are trending this year going into 2021. So currently, the top 5 in-demand categories on Upwork. And if you don't know, we have 12 total main categories on Upwork. Those are all listed here. These are all 12. And within those, there are some subcategories, but these are the main 12 categories, and the top 5 in demand are currently web, mobile, and software development, sales and marketing, design and creative, admin support, and writing. So if you're currently working in one of these areas, or you're interested in upskilling or reskilling so that you can work in one of these areas, make sure you pay attention to the next few slides that we go over in more detail which skills exactly are in demand within each of these top 5 categories. So the first one is the top in-demand skills within web, mobile, and software development. So starting our skill deep dive with the web, mobile, and software development category, these are the top in-demand skills based on the top 50 skills across all categories, based on the number of jobs posted on Upwork. So what we did is we looked at all of the total jobs posted on Upwork and ran a word search for these specific skills within each. And these were the top skills that showed up for all the jobs that have been listed on Upwork within this last year. So within web development specifically, it'll be full stack development, front end development, CMS development, and back end development. For our web and mobile design, people are looking for web design, user interface design, and prototyping. And other, they're looking for things like e-commerce development, mobile app development, scripting and automation, and desktop software development. So moving on from there, the top 10 most in-demand technical skills within the web and mobile software development are these listed here. So in order would be number 1, JavaScript, number 2, CSS, number 3, HTML, number 4, website development, number 5, PHP, number 6, API development, number 7, WordPress, number 8, HTML5, number 9, web design, and number 10, Python. So these again are all from data based across the gross service volume of contracts on Upwork from April 1st to September 30th. And in 2020, computer and mathematics were among the top emerging occupations for all independent professionals. So we're seeing a huge surge of in demand for all of these web and mobile software development. I guess everyone has had a lot of time during quarantine to think of new ideas or better ways that they would like their websites and their apps developed. And there's definitely a shortage of people and freelancers out there able to take on these jobs. So if you're looking for anything new to perhaps reskill into, take a look at some of these technical web, mobile, and software skills. If technical and coding is not your thing, maybe you're more into sales and marketing. So the top in-demand skills for sales and marketing currently are SEO, or search engine optimization, social media marketing, lead generation, digital marketing, search engine marketing, email marketing, and market research. So these are all things that again have a very large number of job postings and are very in demand these days, because I think once people move past from their creation of their website, the creation of their apps, then they're looking onto how do I gain customers? How do I market my idea? How do I advertise? So if you're interested or already working a little bit in any of these categories, maybe these are things that you can upskill in as well. Maybe you could take a class on SEO and learn how to better search engine optimize with keywords. Or you can take maybe a Facebook ads class to learn about how Facebook marketing works specifically. Anything, it's all up to you. So some additional for design and creative, some of the top in-demand skills within each category. So within graphics and design, we have graphic design, editorial design, and creative direction. For photography, we have image editing and retouching, and photography itself. And other, video editing and post-production, illustration, brand identity design, presentation design, voice talent, 2D animation, 3D animation, cartoonists, and motion graphics design. So if these are any of your niches or any of your areas of expertise, these are all great ideas for if you wanted to kind of either upskill in something that you're already interested in or reskill in something that's completely different but also equally as in demand. So moving on from design and creative into our top in-demand skills for admin support. So we have virtual and administrative assistance, data entry, online research, transcription, and project management. I think project management is another huge growing business these days with the post-COVID workforce and a lot of these projects shifting online. A lot of businesses are looking for project managers that can help them into this transition, that can help them monitor these projects and monitor all of the employees that they may have working remotely, maybe managing customer relations, managing timelines for these project completion. And I know that project management is another one of those LinkedIn learning courses that you can take for free now through March of 2021. So if admin support is your thing and you're interested in upskilling further in any of these areas, make sure you pay attention to some additional resources that we share in the end. And lastly, we have writing. So the top in-demand skills that we see right now for writing are content writing, editing and proofreading, copywriting, creative writing, ghostwriting, writing tutors, technical writing, and business writing. So you can write about just about anything these days. So if you have a niche that you want to develop or you want to look to offer some of your writing skills and content, there's no shortage of jobs you should be able to find in content writing, creative writing, blog writing, ghostwriting, whatever it is, you can find it out there and know that it is especially in demand these days as well. So some of the fastest growing skills on Upwork in general, and these are the fastest growing skills that also have a consistent and substantial level of demand. So to do this, we measured it by using data that was sourced from Upwork.com. We first limited the analysis to skills that are in the most in-demand categories by only including skills that have been in the top 500 skills in terms of freelancer earnings for the past 4 quarters. These skills also have more than a 45% year-over-year growth. So that means that they're growing by almost 0.5% in demand each year. So making sure that, if you're interested in any of these as well, now is a great time to continue learning and sharpening your skills and applying for these jobs. So some of these include internet research, phone support, ticketing systems, email support, web application, conversion rate optimization, database design, websites, Flutter, social media advertising, Linux, e-commerce websites, QuickBooks, user interface, LinkedIn, Microsoft Office or campaign management, Google Cloud platforms, other web services, or Zendesk. So again, just wanted to provide you guys with all of the list of these top growing skills and also the top categories and the skills within each category, so you can come back and reflect on this webinar and reflect on, again, where you want to be, where you are now, and what skills or what steps you need to take to get there, to accomplish upskilling in any of these growing facets that we have currently on Upwork. So, additionally, to gain insight on what businesses are thinking, we took a look at the EMSI labor market data for the most in-demand jobs following COVID's first official week as a pandemic. So as we all know, in about March of last year, after the COVID-19 became a global pandemic, the workforce changed as we know it and has been shifted almost entirely online, at least for the time being, and it'll be very interesting to see what types of jobs remain completely online or which ones kind of migrate back into the in-person workforce. But currently, based on the total role demand change from March 16th to the 23rd, at a glance we see that there was a 97% increase in active job postings for statistical programmers. It's almost a 100% increase in a need for programmers immediately. There's also a 60% increase for tellers and office administration, almost 60% for statisticians, and other things like product specialists, compliance consultants, tutors, staff judge advocates, infrastructure architects, Drupal developers, and grant writers. So at a glance, it's clear the substantial majority of these skills can be performed remotely. So expanding this list further will reveal that freelancers with strong writing, web development, and design skills are in very strong demand these days. So again, if these are any of the areas that you're either already working in or interested in working in, now is a great time to capitalize on this change in marketplace, the change in trends. Make sure that you're upskilling yourself to stay the most relevant and up to date, and you should be able to take advantage of these increase in active job postings as well. So moving on from just what are the most in-demand skills, we're going to talk a little bit more about soft skills needed for freelancers. So in the English dictionary, soft skills are referred to as interpersonal skills, such as the ability to communicate well with other people and work in a team. Soft skills are a combination of people skills, social skills, communication skills, character or personality traits, attitudes, social intelligence, and emotional intelligence, among others. Soft skills are non-technical skills that enable people to navigate their environment, working well with others, performing well, and achieving their goals with complementing hard skills. Soft skills include, for example, adaptability, communication, creative thinking, dependability, work ethic, time management, conflict resolution, etc. So the top 3 soft skills that are in demand or essentially necessary for your success on Upwork are self-presentation, written business communication, and client relationship management. So these were all the responses when we asked the Upwork's top-rated community about the most important soft skills that they think have a direct impact on their success. So again, our top-rated community is all of those freelancers that are most successful on our platform, and they said that these are the most important soft skills for everyone to have and that help them with their success on the platform. So self-presentation is going to include the ability to present yourself and your own professionalism on a high level. Your written business communication is very important these days as everything is virtual. Everything is either written in emails or taking place in our virtual meetings. And again, your client relationship management is the ability to turn your clients into customers and create long-lasting relationships that will make up the majority of your business. So a little bit further in detail here for your soft skill number 1 is your self-presentation. So with all of our business becoming increasingly online, your self-presentation is as important now as ever. It is always a valuable investment in yourself to upskill your professional presentation. So this is where your self-presentation is so important. In order to show your potential clients that you're reliable, you should appear and be consistent with your images both online and in person. So your self-presentation starts with your profile and your cover letters. It continues with how you present yourself and your skills on your profile, which is critical to build client confidence in you. Josh Burns says he accomplishes this by listing notable clients that he's worked with in his career. He also has a relevant portfolio item that showcases his skill set. Another option is to briefly list large projects that you've worked on, and then expand on the project in your portfolio section. You want to start off strong in your cover letter and give an example of a project task that you've completed which aligns directly with the job that you're bidding on. And lastly, your clients also want easy and effective communication when working with freelancers online. So that leads us to our next important soft skill, which is written business communication. So some general tips to help you stand out is always be positive, welcoming, and polite. Reply to your client communication promptly, even if that's just to say, hey, I saw this email, I'm working on it, I'll get back to you by the end of day. You always want to communicate clearly, concisely, and know your audience, and avoid spelling and grammatical errors. So I recommend always including or using a spell check extension in your browser or a grammar check extension just to make sure that you're avoiding any of these spelling or grammatical errors. So the more that your business operates online, the more important your written communication skills will be. Your clients will no longer be able to read your expression or body language when you communicate with them, making these skills even more vital. So written business communication, again, is an immensely important soft skill. You need to be able to effectively communicate with your clients on Upwork, speak clearly, and be overly polite and positive. Anytime you communicate with a client, your goal should always be to leave a good impression. The client will form an opinion of you based on your written communication. So it could be a positive or a negative impression depending on how you present yourself in your business communication. So making sure that you're also just communicating clearly and concisely will help you communicate your project task and your updates clearly on a level that the client will also appreciate and understand. So number 3 for our very important soft skills is your client relationship management. We already learned that long-term client relationships can be immensely lucrative. Long-term clients alleviate you from spending a lot of time searching for jobs, writing cover letters, and numerous other tasks that is not putting money into your bank account. So allow clients to find you rather than constantly looking for clients. These long-term clients can completely remove the job search process for you. So some tips to help you stand out to do that is to get to know your client and to speak their language, always knowing your audience and making sure that you're conveying the information in a way that they will most well receive. Always staying organized and check in regularly, following up and being proactive to ask for feedback, align on your realistic expectations, be an expert in the eyes of your client, and address issues right away and be solutions oriented. I really think that the key to all of this successful client relationship management is open and honest communication. That shows the client that you are being proactive, that you are organized, that you're being realistic with your expectations. When you tell them, hey, I know that I said that I could deliver this development by Wednesday, but it turns out there's significantly more work than I originally anticipated, and I expect to get that to you by Thursday at the latest. Is that okay? Your client is going to appreciate that open and that honesty and the update more than anything, and will be able to know and anticipate the delivery of their project to come on Thursday rather than waiting until Wednesday and to send you an email saying, hey, I didn't hear from you today. Have you completed my project? And that just looks like, again, you're not organized, maybe your expectations aren't realistic, and you're not addressing these issues right away. So just always making sure that you're being open and honest and clear with your clients. It will go a long way into hopefully turning in some of these short-term clients into longer-term clients. And upskilling is a critical component to client relationship management because it also makes you more valuable. You can offer more services in different related areas, which will lead to more work for you and more success for your client. So, are you providing value to your clients and enjoying your work? Are you enjoyable to work with? Do people around you seem positive and always show their willingness to help? If so, that means you're being very successful with your client relationships. As a client on Upwork, Josh says that his businesses would rather use the same person long term rather than having to search for someone new. And simply doing a good job and being positive can lead to a great client relationship and a long-term work as well. So, I know that was a lot that we've discussed already, and I appreciate you guys sticking with us all the way to the end. As promised, here's some additional resources to help you upskill as well. So if, as we've been going through this webinar, you've identified some of the areas that you want to grow into, any of the areas potentially you want to completely change and reskill into, here are going to be some really helpful resources to help you do that. So first, there are going to be some online courses, things like Coursera, TEDx, LinkedIn Learning, Masterclass, Skillshare, Teachable, Udacity, etc. So what passion or interest will you upskill in next? There are plenty of resources available online to help a freelancer obtain the skills that they need to stay competitive in an ever-evolving and changing market. So even further, as I mentioned, there are some free learning paths for the top 10 in-demand jobs currently being offered by LinkedIn Learning and Microsoft Learn. As you can see, those listed here are software developer, sales representative, project manager, IT administrator, customer service specialist, digital marketing specialist, IT support and help desk, data analyst, financial analyst, and graphic designer. So these were announced back in June of 2020, Microsoft launched a global skills initiative aimed at bringing more digital skills to 25 million people worldwide. This initiative includes free access to learning paths and content to help people develop the skills for the most in-demand jobs that are required. Microsoft has identified the key jobs and the horizontal skills that are most widely in demand and created learning paths for these via LinkedIn Learning. Using this data, they have identified 10 jobs that are the most in demand in today's economy and are well positioned to continue to grow into the future. So these 10 jobs were identified as having the greatest number of job openings and have steadily had growth over the past 4 years. They pay a livable wage and require skills that can be learned online. So I've already begun to take advantage of some of these myself with their project manager course, and I love it. It's been awesome to be able to take my learning into my own hands, to know that I'm investing in myself and making myself an even more valuable freelancer. So if any of these seem interesting to you, they're free. So go ahead and check them out, take a look online, and see how you can upskill yourself and your skills further today. Some other helpful resources, if you don't want to necessarily just take an online course, you can look to blogs, ebooks, podcasts, YouTube videos, webinars such as this one, or connecting with groups of people that have similar interests, or even finding a mentor. So These resources, again, they're not just limited to taking online courses based on your learning style or preference. You can learn from literally any way that you want to. So now has never been a better time to explore all of the available resources that we have in our hands. And I hope that you guys continue to find your interest, find your passion, use some of these resources to continue to upskill and develop yourself into the best version of yourself, of your freelancing career as you can. So if you still want to find any additional resources, make sure to check out our Upwork community. The link is right here, community.upwork.com, where you can ask questions, join discussions, read some blogs or other resources, or you can continue to check out some of our additional Upwork webinars, which you guys already know about if you've joined us here today. So you can check those out at upwork.com/community/events. And we have all kinds of topics, such as those listed here, such as beginning your freelance journey on Upwork, profile makeover, proposals that sell, professional best practices, starting your agency on Upwork, and pricing best practices from top freelancers. So if you guys want to find out any additional information or want to just continue to be involved in our community, make sure you're checking out our community page and continuing to visit our additional webinars. And thank you so much for staying with us all the way to the end today. I really appreciate your time and attention, and I hope that this webinar has been both informative and helpful and inspiring for you. There's never been a better time for us to take not only our learning and our passions, but our career into our own hands. There's no shortage of resources out there, so I hope that this presentation has helped you not only identify some growing skills, but also some resources that you can take advantage of to capitalize on those availabilities and those jobs. So again, thank you so much,